Hey guys, I'm here with a somewhat special video. I'm gonna be talking about something that nobody ever talks about. I swear there's not like 1,000 videos talking about Storytime animators. But, okay, so I've just been noticing this a lot lately, and I've been noticing it a lot, especially in the past couple years. Like, I keep noticing it more often. But there's been a lot of people in the community of YouTube and other websites where they heavily criticize Storytime animators, and I have no idea why people seem to hate Storytime animators so much. And I'm not talking about like what I'm not talking about channels like, you know, like Actually Happened, or like the YouTube channels that are so obviously fake. I'm specifically talking about people like The Odd Ones Out, Jaden Animations, Wolfie Chew, like those people. Like, I just notice more and more people, specifically people who aren't animators and artists themselves, are heavily criticizing this community, and it confuses me to no end. Like, I'm not saying that because they're not artists and animators, that doesn't mean they can't criticize them, but I am saying that because a lot of the critics are not artists and or animators, that kind of, I feel like that kind of skews their criticism a bit, because they don't understand some of the process that goes into making certain animations, especially Storytime animations. And again, I'm not one to talk because I don't do Storytime animations, but I have done 3D animation before and 2D animation before. So, and I know that animating is really, really hard, even if you're trying to do like the bare bones or whatever. Anyway, I'm rambling on, but in this video, I just kind of want to address a lot of the criticisms that I see Storytime animators get that I just think is stupid. And I also want to address some dramas that happened with Storytime animators that I also think is stupid. I went around and asked artists like what they thought were criticisms that were unfairly given to Storytime animators. Like either to specific ones or to like ones as the whole community. That was horrible. I'm sorry. Also, this video isn't to say that Storytime animators can't be criticized. You can criticize anybody, like no matter what they do. I'm just pointing out these criticisms because I feel like it's pointless to dish out these criticisms to Storytime animators, because I just feel like they don't really help anything, and they don't really help the animator, or whatever you want to call them, because or improve, I guess. But okay, so the first criticism that I have is they barely animate, or they don't animate enough, so they can't be called animators. Which, this one is really stupid to me. Because animation is like the illusion of movement, essentially. Like, if it creates the illusion of movement, even if it's very, very little animation, it's still animation. They're still animators, they're just not animating a lot. Like, it's like, I don't know what you're expecting from YouTube channels who make a living off of doing short animations that they can release so that they can make a living on YouTube, because to quote Ponder Sprocket, YouTube's algorithm basically screws over animators, so you can't like take several months to do an animation if you want to make a living on YouTube as an animator. So that's what Storytime animators do. They find quick and easy ways to do short animations in a short amount of time, so that way they can animate and do what they love and earn money from that. But so yeah, like, it's animation whether you think it's good animation or not. It doesn't matter how little animation you think there is. It doesn't matter if you don't think that they're animating enough. It's like, it's still animation, regardless of whether you like it or not, so grow up. Okay, I'm so salty about this, because it's just like, I can't stand that criticism. So the next one is this one's weird, and I've seen it recently, it's especially been pointed at Katzun as of recent, I've noticed, but, it's basically like, they're all introverts, or they all have social anxiety, and the basis behind this criticism, I believe, is that because so many Storytime animators are introverts or have social anxiety, that must mean that a majority of them are lying about it. And I saw one criticism, I can't remember who it was from, I want to say it's Daft Pina, but I don't think it is Daft Pina. It was probably another person that criticizes Storytime animators, but basically they were saying that it seems disingenuous when a Storytime animator claims they have social anxiety or that they're introverted, yet in their videos they're like kind of yelling and they're like talking about how much they're introverted, and it's like, and it seems like a lot of the people that dish out this criticism are under the impression that introverted means shy, which it doesn't. Like, yes, not all introverts are shy. Like, I'm an introvert. Like, you probably couldn't tell, but I'm an introvert. I'm the kind of person where, like, you have to talk to me if you have to talk to me first if you want me to engage in a conversation with you. But basically, yeah, like, so being introverted doesn't mean that you're shy. It just means that you get exhausted very easily if you have to deal with too much social interaction. It doesn't mean that, like, you're so shy to the point that you're super quiet and you won't talk to anybody. It's like, no, that's not what being introverted is. It's like, that can be part of being introverted, but like, a good example I'd like to think is like I do calls in like Discord servers and stuff, and if too many people join the group, or if I'm in a group call for too long of a time, I have to take a break, because I'll get overwhelmed by all, like, the interactions and people talking and stuff like that. Like, that's kind of what introversion is, or that's what some people mean when they say that they're introverted. A lot of times they don't mean that they're shy, they just mean that, like, social situations tend to stress them out or tend to kind of make them really tired. And then the social anxiety thing, or I saw one person, or actually no, not one person, a few people like talk about, like, they criticize them for talking about their mental disorders, and it's like, well, what do you expect them to do about, like, okay, it's like, it's one thing if you think they're faking it, but they like criticize it as a whole, like they get on to Storytime animators for saying, like, oh, I have social anxiety, or oh, I have depression, or oh, I have this mental disorder, and they don't really say anything about it. They don't even, like, say whether they think the person is faking it, and it's like, what do you expect them to do about a mental disorder that they can't control? Like, they have no control over what mental disorders they have. It's like, if you think that they're faking it, then, like, you better damn well provide proof of why you think they're faking it, because you can't just throw that out there. Okay, the next one I have written down that was pointed out to by a couple friends of mine was, their art or animation style is too simple. Again, this kind of goes with, like, the whole animation thing, where it's like, want to make animations quickly so that way they can still make, you know, a living off of YouTube using animations. Like, the reason a lot of their characters and a lot of their art styles for their animations, at least, is super, super simple, is so that it's easier for them to animate. Like, And some people might think that that's lazy or whatever, but it's like, it's really not. It's like, in fact, I'll give an anecdotal example from me. I am currently in a 3D animation class, and you want to know what the one thing our professor tells us if we want to get our animations done quickly and not spend like the whole semester working on it? He said if we wanted to make animation easier on ourselves, then we make the characters simpler. So that way they're easier to animate and we don't have to add that much detail, because shock of all shocks, I know, like animating stuff with a lot of detail is going to take you a very long time. So it makes sense for Storytime animators to have simply designed characters, because it'll make their job as an animator easier, and they can, again, make money on YouTube. Like, they can make a profit off their animations on YouTube. See, it's coming full circle. Alright. So this next one, I get, but I also don't get. It's, a lot of their story topics are the same. And this one I don't get. It's like, I've seen some people like list off like what Storytime animators tend to talk about a lot, which is they tend to talk about school or work, like stories about their jobs that they've had, or just kind of weird personal stories. And it's kind of just like, well, what were you expecting? They're human beings. Everybody. Like, and it's especially harped on, like, the school and work stories I've noticed. It's like, what were you expecting? They're human beings. Every human being goes to school, or at least ones that can afford to. It's like, every human being goes to elementary school, or middle school, or high school, or college, or whatever. And it's like, and almost every human being has worked a job at least once in their life. It's like you'd have a point if all the stories were exactly the same story, but they're not. They're just animators talking about, like, jobs they've had. Like, I know, like, The Odd Ones Out has a video where he talks about when he worked at Subway. And, like, it's just, like, they're different stories, they just have similar topics, and I don't understand why that's a criticism of the community. Like, I just feel like it's pointless to point that out, because the whole basis of their channel is to tell stories. And of course, on the internet, a lot of the topics are going to be similar, but the stories themselves are vastly different from what I've seen. So the next point I have here, the next one I have here is also kind of stupid, and I recently found out about this from, like, watching, or not that recently, like, I'd say like half a year ago recently, where, it was during, like, the whole Katzun situation, and I was watching Ponder and Manga Common's video, where one of the criticisms against Katzun was that she had a child audience, and it's like, how do you control what your audience is? It's like, and I find this especially dumb because as somebody who has an audience on DeviantArt and kind of has one here on YouTube, but not really, it's just really, it's really dumb to me, because it's like, how, like, what are they expecting them to do? Like, how do you control what audience you garner? It's I don't know, like, this one's dumb because I myself have mostly a child audience. I can't control who watches me, and I can't control who views my art. Same as Storytime animators can't control who watches them, and they can't control who likes their content. And I don't know why people point this out, but I've seen some of my friends said that they think that the reason these people like to point it out so much is because they either want to have the moral high ground by, like, trying to control their content by saying, like, oh, well, think of the children, you're releasing this content, and your audience is mostly children, or I've seen another side where it's like, because they have a child audience, that means that they don't have to put that much effort into their content, which, first of all, screw you. Kids are a lot smarter than you think they are. Not all kids are smart, but most kids, at least I know in this day and age, are a lot smarter than you think they are. They're not going to continue watching something if there's hardly any effort put into it, despite the many quote children-aimed channels I've seen. Cough, cough, NNA Productions, cough, cough. Okay. Okay. So those are a lot of the criticisms that I believe are stupid to hold against Storytime animators, because I feel like they don't really help with anything. They don't really, like, allow them to improve anything, especially since a majority of these criticisms are stuff that they can't control. And now that the criticisms are out of the way, I've had some people want me to discuss certain dramas that have happened with Storytime animators that are also incredibly stupid. And the one that got suggested to me the most was the Wolfie Chew drama, which, I don't know why, 2018 was just, like, it was like just a drama breeding ground on YouTube. Like, we had Wolfie Chew, we had the Spoctor situation, we had the crap with Katzun. It's like that, just so much drama happened in 2018, and a lot of it was pointless drama that shouldn't have happened. But that's a tangent for another day. But basically, so if you don't know what the Wolfie Chew drama was, it was basically like, for some reason, the entire YouTube community decided that they just didn't like Wolfie Chew. I don't know what started it, I don't know what video started it, but people just decided that they didn't like Wolfie Chew. And a lot of the criticisms against her were very similar to, again, quote, criticisms. Criticism against her were like some of the generic criticisms that these idiots aim towards the Storytime animators, like there were people saying, like, oh, well, she doesn't animate. And then, like, people provided evidence that she does animate. She just doesn't animate a whole lot. Like, she's not making a fully animated movie. You dumbass. Sorry, I'm so salty. I had to get at least one insult in there. But, like, when they provided, like, evidence that she does animate, that it just wasn't a lot of animation, then the community was just like, oh, well, she doesn't animate enough. And it's like, well, which is it? Does she animate or does she not animate? Like, you're saying two different things here. And then another thing about the drama, I think, was that she spammed tags in, like, her videos, which, I don't know. I think she used to do that, and then she stopped doing it, but, like, people will literally look up any reason to go for the throat if they don't like somebody or they have a bias against somebody. But I think the dumbest cherry on top of this whole Sunday of a drama was people accusing her of faking her voice, and they were saying that because she was faking her voice, that was a horrible thing. Like people were, like, theorizing that she used a voice changer. People were saying that she did the voice to have, like, this cute anime schoolgirl persona on her channel. And I'm just sitting here like, who cares? It's like, who cares if she has a fake voice to put on a persona on the internet? Like, it's not like she's lying about her stories, like, even though you can't, I don't know. It's like, and there were people trying to say that she lied about her stories, but they didn't have any evidence that she lied about her stories, so they have no merit. But, like, the whole voice thing is what got on my nerves, and people were comparing her to, like, other YouTubers who have, like, tiny, cutesy voices, and saying things like, oh, well, this one's obviously fake because, like, these sound more natural. Even though there was, like, a video, I think, where they compared where Wolfie Chew tried to do her deepest voice and then another YouTuber did her deepest voice. And in my personal opinion, the other person that wasn't Wolfie Chew was clearly using a voice changer to make her voice sound deeper. And nobody batted an eye, and I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. And then, but yeah, like, that whole drama was stupid, and I don't think it lasted too long, but I know there were tons of videos about it, of people literally making up stuff about her to make her look bad, and if you're wondering why they had to make stuff up about her, is because they barely had anything to talk about to begin with. and it was just so dumb, and it didn't die down until people with brains actually addressed the situation and said that the whole drama was pointless and that people were getting mad over the tiniest things that did not matter. And then the Katzun, I was gonna address the Katzun drama, but I kind of feel like I don't need to address that one, because I feel like Ponder Sprocket and Manga Common did a good job on that on their own. If you haven't heard of the Katzun drama, like, involving, like, Foster and all that, I'll link Ponder and Manga Common's videos in the description. But, like, don't attack anybody. Don't attack Foster or anything, because from what I've seen, he's learned his lesson from the whole drama, at least. Like, I kind of just think it was just a dumb teenager trying to start drama to get attention. But, the other topic that somebody wanted me to talk about was, there's these YouTube channels that are kind of, I want to say, parodies or ripoffs of the Storytime animation community, where, I don't know if you guys have heard of it before, but it's basically it's YouTube channels like Actually Happened and a few others that I can't remember the names of right now, where basically it's a community of YouTube channels that claim that they're telling quote true stories from kids, but it was recently revealed, at least for one channel, that a lot of these channels don't actually read stories from kids, or it was revealed that the stories weren't actually from kids, which that was kind of obvious to anybody who had a brain. And basically what these channels do is they hire professional writers, quotes around professional, because these stories are fake and sound fake, where they basically just hire professionals to write stories and to make them convincing enough to where they sound like they were written by kids, even though they're never convincing. And a lot of it is dumb, and at first, and like, if it was just like stupid fake stories, then whatever, but I looked at the channels, and a lot of some of the videos involve really heavy subjects that kids probably shouldn't be hearing about. And, like, a lot of it is, like, about, some of them are about, like, teen pregnancy, some of them are about being abducted, some of them are about, like, people thinking you're dead. Like a lot of them, like, there's even one that disgusts me to no end, where it's like a girl, it's like a story about a girl talking about her mom being in a coma, and I believe that story was proven to be fake, like it was made up, and it's like, and again, like, it's not like they're, from what I've seen, like, if you just go check out their channels, you won't know for a fact that that they don't do it because they're trying to comfort people. You can clearly tell that they're doing it because they want views and subscribers on their channel so that they can monetize stuff. And to me, that's disgusting. To me, it's disgusting to make up a story about a serious subject that you know little to nothing about, basically pretending to be a victim of these different horrible tragedies, and then not even care that you might offend other victims of said tragedies, like I said, like the teen pregnancy stuff, or like the or like the mom that's in the coma. It's like if you want to make a channel where it's kids telling stories, then make a channel about where it's kids telling stories. There are actual channels out there where kids will send emails to these YouTube channels and they will give actual true stories, and a lot of them, you know, they're real because sometimes, if with the parents' permission, they'll allow their kid's face to be seen in the video. And, like, I think that that's really cool. Like, I like hearing stories from kids. It's interesting, but it's like, it's just so weird when it's like the stories are obviously fake. Like, seriously, like, if you just deconstruct a lot of their videos and a lot of the stories, you can tell for a fact that a lot of their stories are made up, and there's no way in hell a kid wrote it. I'll link a couple videos in the description that kind of go into more detail about, like, why like those channels are really, really bad and why they're really, really stupid. But yeah, that's enough of me ranting about the Storytime animation community. If you like this video, like, I appreciate it. If you have suggestions for other stuff you'd like to hear me ramble about, whether it be art related or just I guess, I don't know. I would say drama related, but I guess it just depends on the drama, like, and just how much I know about it. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully, like, whatever topic that might be about. See you later.